Welcome back to Cooking with Family. Tonight we're going to do a copycat Cracker Barrel hash brown casserole. So first, you can see here that we've got a bowl of hash browns sitting in water. So all we're going to do is take your potato and we're going to do them into water because it takes the starch out. You want to make sure that you use a russet potato or a red potato, otherwise they're not going to come out very well. So we're just going to grate this into the water. So these can sit overnight in the water and they'll last a couple of days. So if you know you're going to have hash browns, whether it's casserole or just hash browns on Sunday morning, you can do this a couple days ahead. So you're going to let these sit in the water at least 5 minutes to get rid of all the starch. And then we're going to go ahead and drain them and dry them out. Okay, so now we're just going to drain them. And we have about 15 potatoes here, so we're a big family. So you can see all the starch is coming out. So once you've got your potatoes strained out, we're going to use a cheesecloth. And we're just going to pile all of our potatoes in the center. And our goal here is to get out the excess water. We tend to use 1 potato per person and then 1 extra potato for the pot. So, I'm going to bring this all together. And we're just going to twist it to get out all the excess water. Okay, so once you've got all the water drained out, we do that so that your potatoes don't get soggy. So you get a nice crisp potato. And you can see we got most of the water out of this. And so now all we're gonna do is start sauteing our onions. So here's our onions. I'm just gonna saute them a little bit in a little bit of bacon fat, just to give them a little extra flavor. So we're just gonna let this heat up. Not low cal, folks, not low cal. While we're waiting on our bacon fat to get warm, we're gonna go ahead and start our soup, which is just cream of chicken soup. We're gonna use as a base, and we're just gonna get it warmed up. Okay, so now that our bacon fat is warmed up, we're just gonna throw in our onions. By the way, shout out to Hy-Vee because they now have tearless onions and they really are tearless. Like no tears, no crying. There's no crying in cooking anymore. So we're just gonna saute these up. Look, seriously, no tears, no tears. Shout out again to Tearless and Sweet by Sunions at your local Hy-Vee. Pretty awesome. So we like onions in this house. Well, most of us like onions. So anyways, we use about, if you're using 12 potatoes, you probably use 2 medium onions. I used 3 because we had 15 potatoes and we like onions. So we're just going to let them finish sauteing here and then add a little garlic when it's done. Now that our onions are kind of translucent, we're going to go ahead and add the garlic. And you do that so that your garlic doesn't burn. We also like garlic in this house, so I'm going to add 2 big tablespoon-ish. And then while these are cooking, you can go ahead and preheat your oven. You're going to want to preheat it to 350. That way your potatoes have time to cook without burning. So to our 2 cans of soup, we're just going to add a can of evaporated milk. So it gets nice and thick and creamy once we add the cheese. You can use regular milk. We just prefer to use evaporated milk. And you can see kind of the consistency and the color. And remember that we're going to add cheese to this once it heats up. So once your soup kind of heats up, then this is where you're going to add your salt and pepper. We like to use garlic salt, and it has enough salt in it. You do not need to use regular salt. So we're just going to put a good dash, because remember that you are seasoning for potatoes. So it looks like a lot, but it's not. And then just some good cracked pepper or regular pepper, whatever you have. And our family likes a little bit of spice, so we're going to go ahead and add just a little bit of cayenne pepper. You don't want to overdo this stuff. Stir that up, and then we're going to go ahead and add our cheese. And you're going to let that kind of melt, get all melty schmelty, and then we'll finish it off and throw it in the oven. So we've got just a package of sharp cheddar. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like. Lots of people use Colby Jack. We're going to use sharp cheddar. So you're just going to stir in all of your cheese. And remember, just to season to your taste. Our family is different from everybody else's. We like a lot of taste in there. So we're just going to let this kind of simmer until it gets all melty schmelty, and then we'll be good to go. So now we're getting pretty close to it being melted. We want to go ahead and add our sauteed onions. So we're just going to add them all in and stir. Make sure you get all that goodness off the bottom. And then just stir it up, and you can see that we've got a really good cheese sauce going here. While you're waiting on your sauce to kind of warm up, I'm going to go ahead and just brush some oil on the pan so our potatoes don't stick. You can use Pam, you can do it however you do it, we just do it this way. Okay, so once you've kind of oiled your pan, you're just going to start taking your potatoes and sprinkling them. You don't want them clumpy, so you're going to sprinkle them in the pan. Sort of just nice and evenly. You just want to make sure they're not clumped together, so you get a nice even layer of potatoes. Okay, so now you can see as our sauce is just melty schmelty, smells delicious. And you're just going to kind of pour it over the potatoes. You are going to stir up the potatoes so that they're evenly coated with your sauce. Then we're just gonna set our sauce aside and stir them up so we can see where we're at. You don't want to drench them, but you don't want them dry. Don't nobody like no dry nothing. Okay, so now that we have all of our potatoes mixed up with our sauce, we're just gonna cover it with tin foil, let it cook. And then once it's almost done, we'll add cheese to the top and our little secret ingredient. So stay tuned. Okay, so now we've got it nice and covered. And if you have a pan with a lip on it, if you tuck the tin foil underneath it, it will not spill out. Some people don't know that. So we've got the oven set to 350. We're just gonna go ahead and pop this in and let it cook for a bit. About 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on how big of a batch you made. And then we'll go ahead and check it. So we'll be back in a few. We're just gonna go ahead and take off our tin foil. You do want to be very careful because the potatoes will be steaming hot. However. As you can see, they look pretty good already, but everything's better with cheese. So we're gonna add our second bag of cheese, and you're just gonna sprinkle it over the top. Evenly distributed, of course. So all in all, this recipe has 4 cups of cheese. And then our secret ingredient, which I think was Glendon's idea, but this is crunched up kettle jalapeno cheddar chips. So this is the first for us, so we'll see how it turns out. So I'm just gonna sprinkle those on top.
Thanks for the plug, Brandi.
No problem, Glendon. That way, if it's gross, then we have somebody to blame, other than me, of course. Okay, so remember that the secret ingredient is just something we're doing. That other place that we were talking about, they don't do that. But we'll see how it turns out. So now we're just gonna put it back in the oven for about 15 minutes. Let the chips kind of get in there and let the cheese melt. So no tinfoil this time. Just pop it right back in the oven. And when it's all gooey, ooey, delicious, then we can pull it out. So we're gonna go ahead and try to get out our potatoes, see how they look. They sure smell delicious and they look pretty good too. So there they are. All good, schmelty, melty. Little kick of chips on top. We'll see how they taste. All right, let's see if they're done. I'm hoping to save my taste buds at this point because there's steam rolling off of it. Super good. And I like the little kick of chips on top. Yeah, pretty delicious, super cheesy. Yeah, not too shabby.